do we see our vision transitioning into a long-term model? We see a student coming into our building and immediately going to community time. And this is a time when the student would engage in the 4 C's. They would work on communication. They would talk to each other, learn what effective communication looks like, what it sounds like. They'd get to voice their opinions so that they feel empowered in our building. They'd work on collaboration. They would come up with ideas for PBL projects and work together as a team to develop the kind of research that they want to do. But this is a time for them to practice those collaboration skills, reflect on those skills, and then apply that collaboration not only in their classroom when they're working on their PBL projects, but into the real world. We see students talking about critical thinking, depth of knowledge. What does critical thinking look like? How can we achieve that? What kind of questions would we need to ask ourselves so that we can really engage in the rigorous thinking that we're capable of? This is a place where students would feel that they can talk to one another and learn from another so they feel safe, so that they can fully engage in creativity and let their guard down. So school is a safe place. From there, they move to goal time, and we're calling this our go out and lead time. This is an advisory time when our student would meet with their individual advisor to talk about their learner profile. They would reflect on their successes, their weaknesses, their interests, their multiple intelligences, and during this time, they'd reflect on their data, and the student would engage equally with their teacher to come up with long-term goals and short-term goals. This is also a time for the student, once again, to be empowered where they can come up with action steps. What can they do in the classroom to meet those goals? How does their learning style, or how can they use their learning style to achieve both their short and long-term goals? But again, this is a time for our students to become empowered and work collaboratively with our teachers to determine the outcome of their learning. From here, our student would go to our PL block, and this is our personalized learning block. During this time, this would be our content block. For the most part, there will be many non-negotiables that will stay in place here at New Hope Elementary. Students will continue to receive small group instruction, they will continue to read feedback from their teacher, and they will continue to engage in collaborative experiences with their peers. But moving forward, we really see this as a time for students to choose how they learn best and to choose how they wish to show mastery of their learning. So they may decide that they want to work in a blended learning environment to acquire their information. They may decide that they want to work with their peers or work with a teacher, but they're empowered to choose based on their learner pathway. They're also empowered to choose how they can show their learning. Maybe it's with technology, it could be with a project, it could be with writing. But during this time, students are going to have more agency to decide how they're learning and show what they're learning. From here, a student would move to specials, and we see our students having 5-day-a-week specials. They would have art, they would have music, they would have media, they would have makerspace, and they would have PE. And during this time, particularly with our makerspace and our art, we really see that becoming infused within our large project-based units, where they'd be working on activities and investigating things that are perfectly aligned with their projects that are happening in their classroom. So that the investigation into their projects is really happening all day long. From here, the student will move to me time, and we're calling this my enrichment time. And this is the time where we have a flexible space where the student can reflect on their goal advisor time, and they can apply their action steps into me time. So maybe this is a time where the student wants to work on a blended platform, needs to meet with a teacher because they just didn't get that lesson earlier. Or maybe it's a time when they can dig deeper into the content, work with their peers, and really investigate more into their PBL project. But this is a time that is just for that student.